Welcome, Star Wars fans, to this 100th episode of Duel of the Ranks, a show where we debate takes so hot they'd melt a planet with twin suns. My name's Brody, and I'm joined by my co host, Amanda, as we attempt to discover what story is truly the best from a galaxy far, far away. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing ranks and hot takes from Ahsoka, Part 5. By the end of this episode, we'll have a definitive answer on where this piece of Star Wars content ranks amongst the rest. And with that, episode 100 is here.
Episode 100, we did it.
We made it to 100.
Oh my gosh.
We have a bunch of special treats in store for you today. And wow, what an episode.
This was a treat in itself.
To talk about, spoiler alert, this is a review. Hayden Christensen is back, and he looks great this week. I was wrong. It's not. It is Anakin.
It is.
It is Anakin. And there's a whole lot we're going to break down in this week's episode, but it's such just a big episode to talk about. I don't think we should do it alone this week.
I don't think so either. We've reached this momentous occasion, and even though it's just the two of us now, it hasn't always been just the two of us.
No, there used to be 4 people actually, but one of those 4 is here today. He hasn't been here in years. Wow. It's been a minute. Last we talked to him, we were doing the Book of Boba Fett. That gives you some perspective on how long it's been. Today, I am so proud to present for our new listeners who don't know him, who don't remember him. You're going to today. I am proud to present our close friend, Charlie.
What's happening, guys?
Not just
so
Force
good to be
Ghost,
back.
Charlie.
2 years. Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, we started it almost 2 years ago, and you guys are on your 100th episode, which is fantastic. Keep chugging along, going through all that Star Wars content.
Yep, we still use you for trivia time, and the amount of folks who tune in and they say, "Who's that guy?" Like, you got to go back and listen to the Book of Boba Fett review.
It's part of the DotR lore. So if you're trying to be a lore master, you need to go back and do your history.
100%. Now, Charlie, go ahead. Give us an update. What's been going on in the life of Charlie this last year and a half?
Other than being an Easter egg in your guys's, whole show you got going on, I've been into cryptocurrencies. I've been building out my own NFT while the market is really, really low. And so that way we can go ahead and launch that once things pick up in the market. And then as well as I've been in energy conservation doing and essentially just helping large commercial buildings knock down on their energy use. So drop between 30 and 40% in the commercial real estate area. So for energy use. Other than that, been hanging out with the family, brought the kids in to homeschool the kids, which wife and I are super pumped about this year. And the kids have been enjoying it fully, and got chickens in the backyard, kids chasing squirrels. That's pretty much all of it, man. I don't know what else. Like, life is really, really good.
He is actually living the dream.
That's
Chickens
awesome.
And squirrels and kids and homeschool. You are living the American dream, my friend. But
dude, and not just that, get this. My kids wanted to go and sell cookies so they can make a buck. It's like, okay. And so they said, okay, we're going to get the cookies. We're going to make the cookies, and then we're going to go door to door. It's like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Little did I know that it's literally impossible to say no to a little 6-year-old girl with a thing of fresh baked cookies at the front door, and they're just raking it in like every week, once a week. Go out. It's like, all right, there you go.
100%. Well,
yeah.
Amanda, for the all of the audio only listeners here, they don't see what I see. I see an empty seat. What's that about?
I don't know. I thought we were just a two-per.
We're just a duo now, I thought.
Yeah, it's duo of the ranks, right?
Should we announce who's also here with us today?
Who's our special guest?
I am so
Beyonce?
so unbelievably excited to announce the one, the only Christian.
Yes, Christian Haydenson. Oh, it's you, Christian.
Christian Haydenson.
What's up?
He's back. He's back for episode 100.
It's good to be back.
He's back for this. You're here. You did it.
Not a Force Ghost.
Not a Force Ghost. Christian, what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, I've been watching you guys for
Like a Force ghost.
Yeah, just doing things here and there. Me out on the farm probably, dogs or shearing sheep.
Yeah.
Something.
No chickens though. That's Charlie's job.
Not yet.
You guys should combine forces.
Yeah, you should. Apparently, Amanda and we know what our future holds if we leave
have
the show.
a Duel of the Ranks commune coming soon.
Yes.
You leave the show, you become a farmer. That's what happens, Amanda.
Yeah.
I don't think I got it in me. So
Well,
I-
he just wants to be like is it Galen? Erlin? What's his name? I'm having
It's useful.
a brain
Yes.
blank here.
Yes.
Galen Urso.
Well, among all of that stuff, have you guys been keeping up with Ahsoka?
I got a notification from our listeners that Christian's mic isn't working. So with that, Amanda, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience what this last episode was all about?
All right. So, part 5, Shadow Warrior. Ahsoka faces her master to finish her training in the world between worlds. They duel, and Ahsoka experiences flashbacks from the Clone Wars and the Siege of Mandalore. Meanwhile, on Satos, Jason Syndulla senses the lightsaber battle from the ocean. Hera directs Teva and crew to keep sweeping the waters. When Ahsoka bests Anakin as Darth Vader and holds his lightsaber to his neck, Ahsoka's eyes glow with the Sith before she tosses his saber away and chooses to continue to live. Ahsoka is found by Teva and after recovering, wakes up with new purpose. She and Hu Yang take flight with the Purgles in hopes of getting closer to rescuing Ezra and Sabine. Boom.
That's a great recap.
Thank you.
Did you write that recap?
I did write that recap.
Nice.
And I had to
She writes
spell
them all.
Satos as it's pronounced Saytos because it's not Cetos, which is what I want to say. And then I still can't ever get Teva or Teva. I'm pretty sure it's Teva, but when I read it, it just reads as Teva.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't know the official.
Bo-Katan,
Teva,
Bo-Katan, tomato, tomato.
Yeah. All right. Charlie, can you hear us all?
Can you hear
We're
me?
coming in clear. We've been solo with 2 hosts for so long. We didn't even plug your mic in.
Who
Sounds about
needs
right.
mics?
Who needs it? Who needs it? All right. Well, with that, what do we think? That was a lot to unpack this episode.
Some
my
are saying that
goodness.
this is the best Star Wars episode so far.
Mm.
Like,
And
out of all the Star Wars,
out of all the Star Wars shows, at least.
Like Disney era live action Star Wars
Mhm.
shows. I'm right up there with them.
You believe the hype?
Really?
Oh, I
That is the
loved
best.
this episode. I absolutely just loved it on the screen.
But Charlie, we famously know that you hate the prequels and you're actually kind of scared of Revenge of the Sith. So I'm curious to know if this landed for you or if it's kind of just not your thing.
well, I mean, I actually liked it. I liked it. And I don't know if I hate the prequels. Revenge of the Sith, it scares me because it's just a real tearjerker. But the truth is, like with this one, I actually really liked it. I don't know if I'd go so far to say it's my favorite out of all of them at all. I just overall binge watching this to catch up for the show, because what I've been doing since I haven't been with Duel of the Ranks, I've been able to wait till all the episodes come out and then just binge watch them all together. And so that was what I was going to do with this until you guys invited me. I was like, oh man, okay, I guess I got to catch up. And so when I did, though, I caught up. It's like, I really like it, but if I had to compare it to, say, Andor, I would say Andor, I mean, all around was just so good. But I thought the episode was really great. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. I think what they're going to do with Anakin is going to really help, I think, mend probably a large group of the fan base, perspective against Anakin and, against Hayden Christensen, as far as the outlook that he, was kind of branded with until Clone Wars came along. Because the Hayden Christensen with just the 3 prequels is not the same as the Anakin that was there for the Clone Wars. And so I'm excited about that, making him just turn like a more understanding viewpoint going back with Ahsoka. So I'm excited for that.
I'm glad you brought that up because even in my notes, I wrote that Hayden delivers in this performance. And I feel like he does a really great job of meshing who Anakin, like his portrayal of Anakin, with Matt Lanter's Clone Wars Anakin.
Yeah.
And that's
Absolutely.
hard to do.
Yeah.
And it shows truly how good of a performance he can give when the script gives him something to work with.
Yeah.
Wait, but he didn't even
Absolutely.
have a line. He just looked and smiled.
This episode, he had a
Yeah,
couple
am I
lines.
missing something?
The most recent episode.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I
my
think you
friend.
may have missed an episode.
The very big one
What? Hold up. Did they
This-
just come out with one today?
2 days ago.
Tuesday.
roll back the tape.
I was on.
this-
Hold up.
this-
I'm gonna look it
this
up.
This spoiler
Then I
filled
missed.
episode.
Then I missed the episode. Was it episode 6 then?
Episode 5.
You might want to
Oh, I
jump
watched
off. We're
episode
gonna.
5.
You might want to leave. We're kind of gonna.
I'm about to
Break
get
it down.
roasted.
Well, you remember that one time that I watched the wrong episode
Yeah.
of The Bad Batch, and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about? This episode was dumb."
We're like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Well,
Amanda
we're
and I
talking
were
about.
crazy.
It ends with them standing outside of time in the Nexus thing, right? And
Oh,
Hay-
sir.
That was the
Oh,
episode
sir.
before.
That's leading into
Ooh,
the amazing episode
Bummer,
we're talking
man,
about.
Well,
Oh,
You're
you know what it is? I know exactly what it is.
It's that
'Cause I see
Disney
little
Q,
bars
that
going
Disney Plus
along,
Q.
I'm gonna blame the fact that I don't have a Disney account. I hijacked Brody's.
Um,
I hijacked Brody's Disney account. So I have one more to launch. I guess I'm out, guys. I'm sorry. I am sorry.
this is.
This, you know what? This goes to show you this might be the best episode for Star Wars ever. And I just don't know.
You have no idea. So this is gonna be. You're just gonna like sit here this time. You're like, wow, that happened.
That
And
yeah.
that happened.
it-
And that happened.
We're gonna-
spoilers incoming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
Anakin Skywalker.
He has
is,
lines this episode.
He has many lines.
So
Wow.
as mentioned, they pick up where they left off on that episode and they duel it out going back to the Clone Wars and the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah. And that was pretty good. I mean, I will say I wasn't a huge fan of the volume.
Mhm.
You could really tell like that, yeah, they were in this enclosed space and the whole smoky aesthetic, I just wasn't a huge fan of myself.
Hmm.
I would have
It
liked
was dreamlike.
You're
Yeah,
in a
and I get
fog.
that's
You're
what-
disoriented. It's
Yeah.
a haze.
It blends into one moment to another. It didn't bother me.
I will say, Amanda and I, we talked about it earlier today, where Ahsoka, like, it's just, I mean, obviously this episode really focused on her, and she didn't like the stuff with Anakin. Like, it was awesome to see Hayden Christensen. I loved the detail with his like haircut as he's wearing his Clone Wars outfit, but also I had to really think about what does the whole like live or die thing he's talking about. What does this have to do with anything? And we talked about it afterwards. It sounds like, hey, she's in the pursuit of Thrawn, trying to kill him. And if that's her only focus, then, she's essentially turning to the dark side. And he really made her focus her energy on him in that moment. And you see his eyes are yellow and her eyes start to go yellow. But unlike him, she chooses the light and then he smiles.
That moment when she immediately throws away his lightsaber and says, "I choose to live," and he sort of it's almost like she punches him in the gut, and he has to fall back a few steps, and he hangs his head, and you watch his face contort to this softness that reminds you of Anakin Skywalker.
He's sobering up to the light.
Yes, and he says at the end, maybe there is still hope left for you.
Yeah.
And that crushed me.
And he's got
Emotionally, it crushed me.
he's got that handsome devil look in his eye.
That
and
smile.
just-
I
did-
know.
I didn't even think they really had to de-age him too much because, we saw him in the flesh, in London, and he looks
He
great.
does.
But he looked awesome in this episode.
Oh, they did a
Just-
really good job.
Just stellar. Loved, the aesthetic of it. To get back to, your point on the haze, like the fog and whatnot, I thought it made sense for, a TV budget. It's it's a cost-effective way of putting you in that world,
Mhm.
but it also lines up with storytelling of, yeah, these are memories. You're not going to remember everything perfectly. There's a certain fog to it, but
Mhm.
it's really an emotional experience. But it was just to get back to, we were kind of comparing, yeah, to like Andor or whatnot, or this point in Star Wars history, especially like the Disney era. It is so cool to get this level of storytelling. We're getting back to like the Star Wars being space operatic and lightsabers, and that's, I think, the big pull and this nostalgia for me that pulls into it is up there for episodes.
It
Mm.
felt like a good deal of fan service, but done the right way.
Yeah.
Like, I think as much as fans have been wanting more Hayden Christensen back in Star Wars, this is kind of the first like really good way to bring him back that makes him have purpose
Mm.
and not just like a throwaway character. He truly helps Ahsoka transition her character. And a lot of the critiques that I had in the first couple episodes were about like Rosario Dawson's performance. I felt a little stiff and stale. And still, every time she crosses her arms, which I know she canonically does in the Clone Wars often, but every time she crosses her arms, it still is like, stop doing that.
Ugh.
Stop it. But she really starts to feel like Ahsoka to me, especially as she comes out as like Ahsoka the White.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
very
really
Gandalf.
and
Yeah.
yes, very much. And she like is holding the map piece and she's looking for this memory surrounding it. And the camera kind of pans all the way around her. And I'm admiring at how well her headpiece looks. Like it really does fit. And in that moment, I really was like, okay, this is Ahsoka.
Yeah. But I'm going to be honest. We have all this praise, and boy, characters out. I mean, Anakin it was nice to see, but boy, stuff feels stale. This episode for me was just like, I remember seeing all of this, and you have to ask yourself, like, what's the purpose? And then you look at the characters, and you're, especially on Ahsoka's end, I'm like, wow, you are as stale as an old saltine. Even like the younger Ahsoka is like fine. There's some energy. There's a lot of personality, lots of despair. But older Ahsoka, it's just like, man. And it really featured her this episode. And it showed.
Mhm.
Oh, boy, it showed.
So you're saying it showed her as more stale, or she actually returned to the original Ahsoka that you know?
No, she is just stale.
Because that's
And
like the first four, since I missed the fifth, my biggest take with Ahsoka is like, did you just turn into Obi-Wan Kenobi? Is that what just happened? Are you the
A more
girl version
boring
of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
A more boring Obi-Wan. That's it.
That's a
Which-
really fair comparison.
Which, yeah, I do agree, especially starting off the series. I remember you two talking about how she's just so stoic, overly stoic, to a point of we're like, okay, we get it. It's kind of hard to
You can
watch
still
it
be
now.
stoic like Balin's school
Yeah.
and deliver an acting performance.
Yeah, but I think, and maybe, character analysis, whatnot, is like she's been through, I don't know, or desensitized to so much, maybe so much of a cynic now, where it's like, yeah, I'm just kind of cold to this world. But then I think Filoni's directing her to like, be very stoic and robotic, so that way that much more of enlightenment when you're Ahsoka the White is going to hit much harder, as the contrast, because you do see it like this. There's quite a bit of resolve with her at the end of this, and she's happier or whatnot.
I just can't wait for Sabine to see her again. And she's like, Ahsoka, you have personality now. And she's like, I was Ahsoka the Grey.
Through fire.
Ahsoka
I'm
the
totally
White.
new
And
now.
water.
Yeah, through wire and fought lies. That's actually true. Your lightsabers and water.
It really hit it on the nose with the whole Gandalf thing.
Descended into the darkness.
But with characters, okay, so what did you two think? I mean, we could talk more about Anakin and Ahsoka, but the other ones, the supporting characters and whatnot, the whole Hera, Jason,
Okay,
whatnot, like,
my thoughts about Hera this episode. Again, still a terrible mom. She
really is. Can I go out there like, yeah, come on.
She's like, what's breaking a few more rules? Like, honey, you are gonna go to New Republic federal prison for the rest of your life for treason. right
Yeah.
now, and you are doing that in bringing your child with you to commit those crimes.
She's showing her ways.
Mind you,
Yeah.
Jason Sandula did have a purpose there, which I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm going to say, right? Like they mentioned my boy,
They
Kanan
did.
Jarrus,
They name
by
dropped
name.
your boy.
Lots of bingo cards. that
by
was mixed
name,
today.
and that was also a very emotional moment for me.
That
Yeah.
was good. And Carson Teva's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
I was like, I know, as soon as he did that, I was like, have some respect for the dead,
Yeah.
sir. Oh
Yeah.
my
His
God.
name. I do like how they use Jason. Like before, I didn't really care or whatnot. Like, oh yeah, they put him in the show. Great.
Yeah.
But it made
At
I
least
was
he had
glad they
something to
used it.
do.
Yeah, for him to do something, hear something, and then he like tethered to the experience. Like, Mom, you got to listen to this or whatnot. But yeah, yeah. I don't know. What about you?
I like
Cody?
Carson. Carson's a great. He's the best wingman.
Oh, he's always great to
the
be in.
best wingman ever.
I'm glad they're using him kind of for the audience to like orient themselves. Like he's a nice anchor for each of
Uh-huh.
these shows to keep you together.
Yeah. He's fine. I feel his acting feels a little daytime television-y for me. But
Wow, what a critique.
it just
That
does.
light
It doesn't.
comedy.
I'm just like, all right, I think you probably were on some soap opera, but that's okay. that's the vibe I get. But overall, this episode was kind of boring. That I will say, you got a lot. I mean, and as you see in here in the
You
comments,
said it was
What?
boring?
What?
yeah, it's kind of boring.
It was kind of boring.
You're talking about the one we saw, not the one Charlie saw.
Yeah, and
The one I saw, what to be fair, was what it was.
one
it
he saw
kinda
was
boring.
great. I loved that one. The one we just saw, as Brian said in the comments, there's a lot of stuff in this episode,
There's
not
a
a
lot of
lot of
stuff.
substance, and I buy that.
Where?
So there's always hypeflation. We've talked about
Yes.
this before with Star Wars. There's hypeflation. It's everyone's drooling over it now. How's it going to hold up a year from now, 2 years, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I think there's an element to this hypeflation, but I don't know. I can't deny it was very significant for Ahsoka. It was very significant to utilize Hayden Christensen this way. And it was, I don't know, this next step. It was a lot of a setup episode too for what's to come. But
Mhm.
you got Purrgil close up live action as well. I think there is a lot of content.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the immersive universe got a 10 out of 10 for me. Like that's just
yeah.
10 out of 10 for me. I think that's the first time in DOTR history that we have had the exact same score on something. A perfect 10 out of 10 from both of us.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you literally had Anakin Skywalker. You had him at his good self, his dark side self. You had Darth Vader. You have old Ahsoka, young Ahsoka. You have the Siege
Rex.
of Mandalore. You have
freaking Rex, man. I
You-
thought you'd be drooling all
Tamara
over that
Morrison.
screen.
Yeah, Tamara Morrison's voice was back in it. You also had the Ahsoka face painted masks from those clone
Mhm.
troopers. You had
Yep.
the original clones on. I thought it was Geonosis, but maybe it was a different. I guess it was a different.
I
Planet.
think it was Felucia
Yeah, from that
because they were
movie or
the
something.
Twi'lek.
Yeah, on Ryloth? Or
Ryloth.
Yep.
I think, yeah. It was
Yeah.
at least one of the places was Ryloth.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, yeah, the Siege of Mandalore. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's the Siege of Mandalore. And the actress, Andrea Greenblatt, I think her name
Yeah.
was, she was awesome. Especially, I loved the choreography. The technical aspects got some high marks from me in especially the Siege of Mandalore scene where Ahsoka's battle with two sabers, and she's just so much more acrobatic and
Oh, yeah.
talented. And that was her at like the height of her being a soldier and busting through Mandalorians left and right. And
yeah.
I really got that experience from her portrayal there.
No,
Yeah.
she did great. And to speak on the choreography, I think this was the best choreography since the prequels taking over.
Yeah.
And like to have Rosario Dawson compete or bring up to that level with Hayden Christensen, because he brings that choreography level to this screen, and to see Ahsoka live action play that with him and like living up to that, it was just refreshing to see that we could get that level of choreography, both young and old Ahsoka, and it was really cool, even just from a technical aspects when he's like flashing from Vader to Anakin,
Mhm.
and then he's trying to teach her that lesson as young Ahsoka. I was kind of cringe when he's like starting to beat up young Ahsoka, and you're like, oh, this feels wrong or whatnot, and then he kicks her. He's like, no, I need your adult version. I'm going to teach you your adult version of lesson. And then he
Yeah.
comes out.
Mm.
I just thought that was a really cool way to do it.
Yeah. No, I mean that whole sequence was awesome. And it was funny because every time they pulled out of that sequence and went to the other story, I was just like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't care about
Oh,
Jason
I thought
Segula.
you were bored.
I thought it was interesting. I thought that one element of the show was interesting, and I was excited to see the flashbacks. But that doesn't make it's a great story. Come on, Ahsoka's so boring. Give me a break. Come on.
I think she's the most interesting she's been in this episode. She was
That's
not.
not
She
saying
was
much.
not boring this episode.
Right.
I don't know. Ahsoka was.
I mean,
Anakin-
when you start at like 0 bore, you just need to go one level up to.
Just a little bit.
No,
There's
I
a
didn't watch
level.
it. I did not watch it. And
What's your take,
so
Charlie?
what am I even doing here? Like, if I didn't watch
Yeah.
it, I don't even deserve to be here, man. I
You
hang my head in
shouldn't. You
shame.
shouldn't be here.
That
Yeah.
is hilarious. Well, Charlie, why don't
But-
you do yourself a favor? Listen, we love having you on. You've got to go watch this episode because
It's true.
now that we've completely
I'm just
spoiled
glad.
it for you.
I'm so glad that I came here for the 100th episode, just so I could go be reminded that I missed it. I got to go actually watch. I can't miss out on potentially the best ever. Although Brian in the
No,
chat has let me know that I'm okay to not
Yeah,
watch it. So,
Well, okay, you're not okay to not watch it. I mean, you should watch it. It's just not the best ever. Overall, the Duel of the Ranks, we gave it an 86.3%.
hey, that's pretty
gave me-
high.
Yeah, Amanda
That's
gave
a
it
high
an
score.
91.8. I gave it an 80.8, which I feel good about. So there you go, 86.8. Where does that rank all time, Amanda?
It ranks. It ties for 7th.
That feels about right.
Wow.
Really?
You can't put it above any Andor episodes.
That means you think the last episode was that significantly better than this one?
Yes.
What do you guys
Wait,
have
what-
ranked as
what
the
was
number
last
one
episode's
number
rank?
one TV episode?
The number one episode of Star Wars television, according to Duel of the Ranks, is Andor season 1, episode 6, The Eye, for an 89.73. Fallen
Yeah, that's-
Jedi, the last episode, got an 89.6.
Oh, so last episode of Ahsoka, we scored higher
Higher.
than this one. I'm surprised.
I thought last episode was so much better. So much better.
Interesting.
Yeah, that last episode. First off, I mean, I'll save this for the hot takes, but Balin is amazing.
Oh,
He wasn't
like-
in this episode.
He was
He
the
was in
best
this last
character in
one.
that last episode for sure.
Great.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
and yeah,
he's a
the
solid
fighting
character.
sequences. And as we talked about, like that last week, you saw that prequel level fighting from Ahsoka and Balin, and then you have his apprentice's name?
Shin Hatsi.
Shin-
Shin Hati. You have her and Sabine fighting, and they're just again, it feels exactly like the sequel.
No.
Look,
that
the
choreography doesn't. That's like a
No,
step
it-
below.
It doesn't. That choreography was terrible. It was like it was way too slow. I mean, the whole thing was I don't know. I wasn't into it. But you know what? I have no right to talk. I'm gonna see you guys later. I'm gonna go check out what happened for this episode, and you all have a great rest of your day in your time. Peace.
Adios, dude.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Was I overstepping Charlie? I couldn't hear him.
A little technical glitch.
Technical.
We're good.
We're back. Had a couple of those today.
Maybe this is the subject of debate. I'd be curious your thoughts, Amanda. The choreography with Balin and Ahsoka was good, and I thought very purposeful and utilitarian. But I think it's closer. I don't think like it's pretty good and top tier for like Disney era choreography, but I don't think it was like close to prequel stuff. And I think with Anakin and Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds, that was much closer to prequels and better than last episode in
So
choreography.
I know you just went on a tangent saying that seeing Ahsoka and Anakin fighting was like the next level, but I got the impression that Anakin was just like so much better. And I don't know if this was just Hayden versus Rosario, but Hayden's like movement felt so much more familiar
Yeah.
in a way that, and obviously like he's beating Ahsoka in most of these because he's meant to overpower her. But it wasn't Ahsoka at her best fighting.
Yeah.
But she was also fighting something deeper.
Oh yeah.
And it
Something-
gave us
Yeah.
just a brief glimpse of what it would have been like to have Darth Vader like without his suit.
Yeah.
And like just to give you now, personally, I kind of wish we would have used more like force powers, as that's like what Darth Vader is like known for.
Push, choke.
But it just goes to show, like, hey, if he wasn't wearing that suit and he had those force abilities, boy, that lightsaber action would be going pretty crazy too. And Anakin Skywalker would have been the most powerful being in the galaxy, way leagues above Palpatine.
So I want to bring up a couple more quotes before we move out of this section that I think really help summarize like the meaning and importance of this episode. During the conversations through like the Clone Wars flashbacks and Siege of Mandalore flashback, Ahsoka's gripping with the fact that like she's training to be a soldier, not a peacekeeper. And Anakin says, when Obi-Wan taught me, we were keepers of the peace. Now to win this war, I have to teach you to be a soldier. And then we jump to Siege of Mandalore, and he was like, see, you turned out to be like the best soldier that I could be, or that you could be. And when talking about what her future is, she references his path of destruction, and that's what her future is. And he says to her, you're more than that because I'm more than that. And that feels like the whole point of this whole thing was her for the first time like realizing and shedding the pain and weight of that future that kind of lingers in the air. I always think of The Last Jedi, and we are what they grow beyond. And that's just also a beautiful parallel that kind of sews this all in together. But
Yeah, just so much fun. This is the closest we've come to the prequels in, however, almost like it's like 18 years. So
Brian in the comments asked, was she really fighting Anakin's ghost or her mental projection of him, or both?
Oh, that's the
I've got to
question.
believe it's like truly Anakin.
Yeah. You think he saved her?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 100%. 100%. No, she was under the water for a long time. I don't know how long her people can just stay underneath water without coming up for air, but I'm going to assume.
Well, she wasn't in the water until she left the world between worlds.
So you think they just teleported her back?
Yeah.
So there you go.
But do you... Okay.
And that's what I've heard. So I heard like that little orb that she held, and then when she fell at that rate, it's what transported her to the world between worlds because it burned her hand. And
well, if you
something in
think
it.
about when Ezra saves Ahsoka from Vader on Malachor, he has to like reach in and grab her and is like literally saved because Ezra was there at the right time. So does that mean that Anakin like reached in through this window and saw that like Ahsoka could die in this moment, but I'm here to see if she is ready to die?
She gets a lot of close calls through the world between worlds and gets saved that way, which is kind of interesting.
Because she is the DotR.
Yeah, she's got like 9 lives over here.
Yeah, that's what I think adds to how cool this storytelling is. Like, yeah, it's fun to theorize and think, like, was it his ghost? Was it her projections of him? Or was it a mix of the two? And I really don't know. I'm kind of in the middle because I'll go like, it makes sense for it to be projections and like this is a lesson for her. But Jason isn't going to just hear her memories. Like, he's got to hear something real. And like, there's that point. But at the same time, kind of goes back to like, it doesn't matter. It's about Ahsoka learning the lesson, and she gets that lesson learned. And I was thinking it's quite nice and convenient, or like she's very blessed or lucky to be shoved into this World Between Worlds to learn this lesson in this hybrid format instead of facing greater consequences in like the physical real life world. It's like, oh, you're very like privileged, you get to learn this lesson in this format
And come back.
and you're a changed person because of it. Like that's
true.
quite something.
Yeah. Well, with all of that, should we take ourselves into the hot take segment of
Let's
the
do
show?
it.
All right. It is time for some hot takes.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
All right. It is hot takes time. And Amanda has a hot take.
That's right. I
Uh-huh.
sure do. So, my hot take is that we should have gotten Ahsoka in her first Clone Wars costume, which is tube top Ahsoka. Yeah, because Disney chose to put this 14-year-old in a tube top way back when they created the show in 2008. So, shouldn't you double down on your decision to sexualize a young girl, and let's kind of play back into her authentic costume back at that time? So, what changed?
So I don't know how many places you were wrong in that last statement. That's just wild to me. The blasphemy. First off, sexualizing young girls. That was a weird comment to hear out loud by anybody. But number two, Disney did not create this character back in the day. It was actually done on Cartoon Network. Disney upholds and uses the content still.
Oh.
They did not sign off on the design of that character.
Oh, wow, you got me
So
there.
I disagree with your claim. Try again.
Wait, you
No.
aren't furious that she's not, like, didn't they sabotage her character by not having her be in the authentic
Am
costume?
I furious that a child was
Isn't it give you like a 0 out of 10?
No. I was not
Continuity.
furious over
It
that.
broke continuity.
If I was furious over that if any person
Red flag.
is concerned over that, that's some form of red flag. That's all
Brian
I'm gonna
says
say.
people say George was behind that design. I don't know the full truth, but I'm very okay with them fixing that.
I am too.
Secretly, I am too. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to.
She just
Yeah.
had to have a hot take.
I just trying to
It
come up
was
with
a hot take.
And I mean, it was a hot take that they decided to put her in a tube top to begin with, because
That
I
feels
think
like a George call.
it does. And
Yeah.
I think the same. Oh, you mean the same guy that said that bras don't exist in space?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do think they did a great job of casting young Ahsoka, because you actually do feel like she is 14 years old.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is kind of somewhat lost in animation translation.
I mean, I do wish they had a different actress for whatever 17,
The middle,
18-year-old
yeah.
Ahsoka, because
I think they
From
updated
this
her.
episode?
Yeah, between the Clone Wars and the Siege of Mandalore, like her age up.
The adolescent, you were like, you wanted a different actress?
Yeah, for the young one, it was fine. Like she looked like a kid.
Oh.
But when there was a Siege of Mandalore in the show, she does seem older. Like the animations, like she seems a bit older than she was previously. So
And she did feel that way on screen to me.
Yeah, I thought they adjusted. Yeah, her aesthetic.
Her hair was different. Her costume felt accurate. All that.
maybe a costume is accurate.
I learned that actress was the one who played
Gamora.
Little Gamora in
And
Infinity War.
she was just in Barbie, this summer's Barbie. So
There you go.
Oscar, Emmy, what's she gonna get next?
Another costume for another flashback.
She's got the world in
She's
her
got-
palm right now.
She's got a type. She'll be, hey, you need young you. You know who will play it. Her.
You've had a green face, an orange face. Blue is next.
Blue is next. Blue is next. No, I downvote you. I'm sorry. Christian, what do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, it'd be a red flag if I agreed.
It was
don't
was
agree with
my
Amanda.
it
on
was
this.
my
But it
attempt
was
to corner
certainly
you
a hot
all.
take. Certainly a hot take.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like we're on To Catch a Predator. Is the show? I feel like
If
right
you're
now.
out there,
Like
we'll get
lured-
you.
I was like, this is weird. That's nope. Sorry, not today, Satan.
I got a bad feeling about this hot take.
All right, Christian, do you have a hot take for us today?
I mean, you know me. I'm not really a provocateur, but if I had to gel up something, I would say this type of episode. This is the show and the content that Disney should have started out with live action Star Wars shows, instead of
Mm,
all the yo-yoing back and forth and doubting with like Boba Fett or like things like, what are we doing here? And I think starting out with something like this would have been the right move.
I like that idea because if you think about it, kind of rolling off the heels of the Clone Wars, there was a lot of fan favorite. Like everyone knew Ahsoka was a fan favorite, and that could have been the great transition into this. Is it a hot take?
Is it a hot take though?
I think that's hot because you're basically saying this should have taken the place of Mandalorian season 1. And that's why I disagree, because Mando season 1 was so great for brand new Star Wars fans,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
whereas the sequels were not.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I disagree with him, but I agree with you.
And there we go.
All right, hate all around
I
today.
got a bad feeling about this hot take.
Love coming back for those.
Are you guys ready for another bomb that you're all going to disagree with?
Let's go.
Yes.
Okay, I think Hayden Christensen did a fantastic acting job,
Agree.
but personally, and I think it's the writing, and I loved when he was, and I will say, when he's on screen, I'm locked in, so I'm not hating in that regard at all. But Balin, there's just something there that just makes you stop, and you're like, and if he had that same level of history, I think it would be even more. So like his character right now, while everyone on the internet, all they're doing is talking about Anakin. I'm saying Balin, as it stands right now, what is still a more interesting character in this show than Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. I don't even know if
I agree.
I think we've all kind of moved past Anakin as the character, like,
Yeah.
and like
So
Balin.
that kind of means it's milquetoast.
Yeah, Balin's definitely the top character in
Week
the show.
after week, we've
Yeah.
been saying that.
Like, yeah, and I've heard and I've agreed. Like, I love watching Balin, and you can't deny Ray Stevenson's performance with that.
So
Like,
good.
There's so much mystery behind him.
Yeah.
Like he kind of has this connection to the Force that's sort of like a foresight that we don't really know. Is Shin Hati his daughter?
Yeah, I remember you two talking about him and how sometimes, I don't know if Disney has the problem of you title it the main character and you have problems where you're not interested in the main
Mhm.
character, you're interested in all the side characters.
Mhm.
And they've made Balin automatically an awesome character because he's shrouded with mystery. He's not black and white Sith. He's got a bad side, but you can sense that there's good, and he's fallen from faith. So they've made him almost indisputably likable and, interesting. And so
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. He's the wolf we're all wanting to watch.
Mhm.
Yeah, he really is. Silver mane, just all about it. Well, all right, fine. It's milk toast. I get it.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
Well, that about wraps up our 100th episode.
But we have one final thing for our live viewers. And if you're audio only, this might be a little boring. But if you're watching this, we put something a little special for you guys. Some special for you, just to say thank you for everything you just for watching us this whole time. We wanted to put this together.
We're a little sentimental, so here you go. Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Brody, and I am a
I'm
co-host on
of
Duel of the Ranks.
I was really burnt out from my last job, and I was looking for a new creative challenge. So I've always been getting in trouble for talking too much since I was a kid. So when Brody approached me and learned that I loved Star Wars and pitched Duel of the Ranks, I was like, duh.
Who wouldn't want to talk about Star Wars every week? I grew up loving Star Wars, but I also grew up loving sports debate shows like ESPN's First Take, Sports in Nation. And I thought to myself, why aren't there any content creators in the Star Wars space doing something like this? But I didn't have anyone to co-host it with me. And then I met Christian and Amanda.
I really didn't expect to have fans that are people I don't know in real life. We even have a day one fan out in Germany. Hello. I wouldn't have expected us to create a voice that stands out in a market as crowded as Star Wars.
Well, Christian saying Solo was a good Star Wars movie was kind of a surprise for me, but besides that, this show, I wasn't expecting it to be a highlight of my week. I mean, my co-hosts, the engagement from our listenership, and just the community and people we've met through this process, it's just been awesome.
Greatest lesson learned has been staying true to ourselves and how difficult that can be. There's a lot of polarization in the Star Wars community, and it's been hard to take on the burden of giving a definitive rank to every piece of Star Wars content. So we have to come up with opinion and stick with it. And at the end of the day, we are all just Star Wars fans, happy to be even talking about Star Wars in this age.
There's highs, there's lows, there's some really great, and there's some stuff that's just really not a whole lot of fun. But even at the worst, there's something valuable and amazing and something you can get out of it that you just cherish. Now that you've reached 100, are you calling it quits?
Yeah, actually. Just kidding. Thank you, everyone who has subscribed, listened, interacted, and submitted your own hot takes, even if they were kind of milquetoast.
We're just getting started, but for everyone who's listened to us to this point, who's listened to every single one of these 100 episodes, or just most of them, thank you. And for all of the hosts, Tim, Charlie, and Christian, thank you for helping us lift this behemoth of a project up and doing it with us. For all the folks that have been a part of this journey to this point, we prepared a special treat for you today to say thank you. Enjoy.
Sunday church-going motorcycle club guys they just out for a nice Sunday drive in the desert and go with the slip away.
Therefore, if they are not his kids, sterilize them. Will we get another record? Oh.
And with that, that is episode 100 of Duel of the Ranks. Christian, Amanda, thank you both for doing this with me. It has been such a journey. Christian, you were a part of it for like 93 episodes or something. So had to throw you in that title sequence at the end. You're the bulk of it. Thank you both for doing this show.
Oh my gosh, this was awesome.
And thank you for watching and listening and engaging with us and, yeah, making it so our comments don't fall on deaf ears.
100%. For folks who want to listen to more Duel of the Ranks and they realize there's 99 others they got to go check out, where do they go, Amanda?
Check us out at dueloftheranks.com, where you can see where all of the episodes that we've reviewed so far rank amongst all the rest. We're also on TikTok, Twitter, or X. Is that what it's called now?
Whatever it is today.
Yeah, and just check us out every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Central. We're going to be right here.
Right here, right here. Christian won't be. This was just a special week. He'll be back home on the farm, probably getting chickens. With that, we'll see you next week, y'all.